celebrate the true meaning of Christmas. Inmates get special visits from family and Christmas without a home.
This is the National EMTV News with Mary Bertulo.
A very good evening. Thank you for joining us for the news this Christmas Eve. As we are hours away from celebrating the solemnity of the birth of our Lord and Savior, a market vendor in Port Moresby is also appealing to all citizens to celebrate the true meaning of Christmas. He says Christmas is a new beginning of evangelization where each one of us are called to become witnesses through our service, and Papua New Guineans must celebrate Christmas with prayers of praise and thanksgiving.
Simon Hewitt comes from Western Highlands province and is one of the market vendors who resell fruits like pineapple and watermelon to city residents and nearby communities along the 14-mile road outside Port Moresby. He told MTV News he earns more during the weekends, including public holidays, because this is when most city residents want to enjoy road trips along the Sogari Road. During this festive season, Hewitt has increased his stock of supply to cater for customers' demand, targeting mainly city residents.
I'm plenty. Lo Monday go Thursday, plenty, but Friday, Saturday, weekend, over the man lo town Sakamanda, even all big man to Sakamanda, like Governor General, all member to Sakamanda, so packing car roll, no other but step, and putting car good, na come down, Kaiga, sit down.
For tonight and tomorrow, Hewitt wants to celebrate a joyful and peaceful Christmas with his family.
Enjoy with our family, blow me actually like money. Stuff on them all, enjoy play at Nasta. Just like Christmas.
Hewitt has supported calls made earlier this week by the Royal Papua New Guinea Constabulary and the Catholic Bishops' Conference of Papua New Guinea and the Solomon Islands for an alcohol-free Christmas.
Nunggut pasin na. Gubla pasin mas stop na yumi ko pani 2018 na ba stop ko to gura times. So ni mamas na sabotim top lol sol mantu.
Fabian Hakelitz, National EMTV News.
The countdown to Christmas is on, and many families in the National Capital District have been preparing for this festive day. However, the true meaning of Christmas must always be revived in our hearts with joy to those around us.
It's a day to Christmas, and the nation's capital is bursting with families and friends spreading the joy of Christmas.
Physically, I'm like Christmas, and by like we stand the family and celebrate. We celebrate the family, by you enjoy more than the family you spend time. Plenty of minutes spending time with them family, but Christmas I'm to bring him time where you must spend the most time with the family. So him just like love where you got him, family, or friends or loved ones, blue.
On the nativity for the baby Jesus being born into this world was to bring salvation.
Christmas main meals, family gatherings, all families wherever they are, they come together and they celebrate the Christmas. And tomorrow we are planning to make a family gathering.
2017, maybe country I'm going to plan something. Every long settle money na maybe same time. Papua New Guinea took some time to solve the good plus something big money stuff na all Papua New Guinea all land blow at.
While many will be spending time with their families at church or over a big meal, for others it will be a normal routine.
Good blamas, Christmas and sit down solo. Market sort of stuff. Plenty customer in Solo Moresby City also rest around. O grab market plan your rascal now criminal pula bosemna. Also gam all big church also gam passing time loyana also ogi market.
Lillian Kinean, National EMTV News.
Over 100 inmates of Bomana prison outside Port Moresby were given special visits from their friends and families today. Although it was just for 30 minutes, it brought joy to inmates who appreciated more as they joined the rest of Papua New Guinea to celebrate Christmas. And starting this evening, on Christmas Eve, those in prisons are not forgotten.
Christmas in prisons may be a different feeling, But with the presence of loved ones, they are bonded behind the bar. Family and friends are given the opportunity to spend time with their loved ones during visiting hours every Saturdays and Sundays. At the Bomana Correctional Center, inmates are allowed 30 minutes for visitation. But there are thorough security checks conducted by correctional officers before family members are allowed in. Every inmate is allowed 2 visitors each. Yatra Cecilia is one of the inmates who looks forward for every weekend.
Me Eastern Highlands, Christmas lomi and mini Muslim, and time where our family by come together inside long display yard will stop now no pain heavy or problem the life for all or disla overcome sit down together na by all booking face one time. As me lo side lo me stop inside lo banis kalabus so family lo me all come visit me.
Despite his rights being taken away from him, Cecilam is grateful to have spent time with his loved ones on Christmas Eve. Kevin John is another inmate who shares similar sentiments.
Christmas now some stuff inside the carabus. Don't miss all loved ones to the family to me the lot side. Now stop to all miss me ta now tini me ta now come now look me ta so me ta big pa master to stop story one time last time.
This evening, inmates will be hosting their own carols by candlelight, and even they say will bring together all inmates from the 3 compounds at Bomana, including the female wing. Dr. Gunga, National EMTV News.
And in Australia, well, it's been a day of frantic shopping across the country as people fought to tick off their Christmas lists before it was too late. Spending big money was good for retailers.
It was the final festive frenzy today right across the country. 1.1 million shoppers left their Christmas gifts until the very last minute, braving the big queues for toys, gadgets, clothing and of course plenty of food.
The Australian Retailers Association forecast $50 billion worth of sales in the lead up to Christmas, and we believe that we're right on track to get that $50 billion and maybe even a little better.
From tonight, the doors will be shut, plenty of time to enjoy the Christmas festivities. But come Tuesday and the doors will reopen from 5 a.m. for what is tipped to be the biggest shopping day of the year for the Boxing Day sales.
We will expect 1 million people through our stores on Boxing Day, millions more to shoppers from David Jones online.
Every store in New South Wales has the opportunity to trade on Boxing Day. We're expecting lots of people out and it's a great time for retail.
Bargains will range from 50 to 80% off. David Jones reckons it will sell 45,000 gadgets, 55,000 dresses and a whopping 1 million business shirts.
Back home, and a time of joy and celebration has been turned upside down for 2 families of former public servants who are the latest victims of evictions. Despite a national court order in place, police evicted them without proper eviction notices. They will now spend Christmas outside of their houses and the place they have called home for the last 30 years.
The festive season for these 2 families will not be the same. Yesterday, more than 5 police vehicles entered the premises to evict Lucy Agen and Cecilia Awi, both former public servants who have served the country for over 30 years. The victims told EMTV News they believe the eviction is illegal.
So me plan by no go inside. Midla tindilo burgim tasol burgim na go back because midla got national court order protect midla can go inside na sleep tasol. Midla lagim well masawena. Midla lagim papa nigni masawena. Midla ba sleep lo yet.
According to the lawyer representing Lucy, a national court order is in place to stop any further obstruction or notice from any party to transfer the title. Lawyer Wesley Donald says this order has been breached.
Eviction yesterday happened on the 23rd of December 2017, which is 1 day after the directive of the Metropolitan takes effect. That's why we say that this eviction or purported eviction is an illegal eviction. In addition to that, you cannot carry out any eviction on the basis of the court order alone. You must have a warrant to enter and repossess the land.
Both Lucy and Cecilia have lived on this property for over 30 years. Lucy was working with the Lands Department while Cecilia served as a nurse.
Me no feeling good. I'm true injustice lo me tubla.
A relative of Cecilia's family say the action by the members of the police force is uncalled for. They claim damages were also done.
Example, food woman inside the store go broke. We had about 5,000 kina in cash in there, went missing. Triple laptop and go damaged. Antapna, Tamblo one time, mobile phone and Miblan laptop. I must go out. Everything just went like hell. Or just torme.
A notice of no eviction over the festive season was recently posted in front of the office of the NCD Metropolitan Superintendent Commander. However, police carrying out the eviction yesterday say the notice is no longer valid for this case. The families want answers from responsible authorities.
Me like ask him, Police Commissioner, want them housing minister. Na Metsup, you bla trip like Masikam, na look me bla lohiana. By bla talk one lo me bla.
I am more good plus I was one big man lo police department yet. I met Subo, police commissioner yet come na one time all line blown na just open him gate blow me bla yet na me bla go inside. Or housing minister.
These two families will now spend Christmas out in the street. The title of the property is believed to have been transferred to a Chinese businessman in the Gardens shopping area. Jack Lapave Jr., National MTV News.
Correctional Service Commissioner Michael Waipo is nursing bruises to his head after he was assaulted by his son-in-law. The incident happened yesterday at his home outside Port Moresby. The accused was charged for one count of threatening at the Hola police station before he was released on 300 kina bail. The case is expected to go before the committal court in the coming days. Here with Sunday's news, we'll have more stories from around the country when we return. Stay tuned. Welcome back to the news. The PNG Accident Investigation Commission will be investigating an incident when aircraft crashed in Morabe yesterday. The pilot, the only person on board, survived the incident. The Britain Norman Islander aircraft belongs to North Coast Aviation. Market vendors along 14-mile road outside Port Moresby have called on the responsible members of Parliament to assist with building a permanent market structure. Since the makeshift market is just adjacent to Pacific Adventist University and also the Adventure Park, this is important for tourism.
Usually, mi plan ugat Paolo, wani me ba. Tol member na big man lo Central NCD. Olu mo some market good plan na planti man kam. Mi ba sa tokso rol tu. Olgan kam na beli sembla lilik market na lara mi plan. Stavan la good plan selta na wakim good plan market na.
The National Executive Council has appointed Henry Lilirua as Secretary for Trade, Commerce and Industry. Minister responsible, Wera Mori, has confirmed his appointment, making it known the position has been vacant for some time. Minister Mori has appealed to all public servants of the department to put aside their differences and work together to achieve the desired goals of government.
The position was vacant earlier this year, around May, and that now in December, Cabinet had finally appointed the current Acting Secretary, Henry Lilirua, as the permanent secretary for this department.
A tourism and hospitality company in Western Highlands says the province is lacking tourism exposure. Pim Mamindi from Paya Tours told MTV News the less exposure by tourism authorities has affected the industry. Mamindi said this at the opening of a new lodge in Mount Hagen recently.
Mr. Mamindi says Western Highlands province have some prestige historical and tourism sites. However, more awareness and exposure needs to be carried out to attract tourists. He said even though there is awareness, the national and provincial government has a big role to play. Mamindi said road infrastructure and law and order needs to be solved to attract local and international tourists.
In Western Highlands province, tourism has a potential. There's great potential for tourism in Western Highlands, but there's lack of infrastructure and law and order. If we can get these things fixed, I think we can have tourism increasing, number of tourism.
Mr. Mamindi on Friday launched the opening of the extension to his Mount Hagen Travelers Hut. Even though the country is going through economic crisis, Mr. Mamindi said through faith, they managed to complete the 12 rooms in 11 months. Mr. Mamindi said his target customers are tourists and one way to attract them is to provide affordable hospitality services. His rates will be 150 kina to 350 kina per night.
You see, in actual fact, we did this with our own timbers. We cut timbers from our own bush. We brought them in. We only put the foundation, which is cement bricks, but otherwise we put the timber, or we use our own timbers. So that cut down the cost. But if you wanted to put everything just imported, modern materials, I think the cost will go up.
The building costed Mr. Mamindi at least 1 million kina to complete it. Mamindi said during the Mount Hagen Cultural Show, Paya Tours have received many international tourists and have accommodated them at the Travelers Hut. He would like to see more of that, but he encouraged tourism authorities to promote to their best the industry. Vasinata Yama, National MTV News, Mount Hagen.
Trade, Commerce and Industry Minister Weramori says business must be given opportunities in next year's 2018 APEC Summit, and he has called on state agencies and the private sector to collaborate for the country's best interest. Despite current economic struggles, Minister Mori says small businesses will have more opportunities to boost the local economy.
As 2018 looms, Minister Mori has confidence on Papua New Guinea's preparations towards the APEC 2018 leaders meeting. One of them is the APEC House, including facilities of other hosting venues. He says Papua New Guinea must not miss this opportunity.
To chart out the way forward and prioritize activities to present Papua New Guinea's position in terms of commerce and trade in the coming APEC 2018.
The APEC summit is expected to attract global leaders and participants from the other 20 economies, a good platform for local businesses to assist the government with its road to economic recovery.
We have a big challenge, and that is to drive the country's economic agenda. We cannot do so if there is instability. We cannot do so if we have people who do not have the right qualities and ingredients.
The current state of the economy has had a significant effect on businesses throughout the nation, and Minister Mori claims the PNG-led government has maintained the 100-day plan to address some of these issues. But he says the challenge can be endured if stakeholders work together in one direction.
We have to create SMEs that can build up to about 500 SMEs by the year 2030. That can only happen under a leadership that has got to be innovative. People who can think outside of the box and think laterally to drive forward what is government agenda.
Despite the slow approach in growing PNG's SME sector, Mori maintains better dialogue with businesses is vital. Jack Lapave Jr., National MTV News.
More women have now entered into the once male-dominated field of information communication technology. This has seen more women advancing, using their knowledge and skills to master in this area of trade, projected to be a strong revenue generator for Papua New Guinea in the future. In this special report by Fabian Hakalitz, we look at how the PNG ICT Cluster has been assisting women to prosper.
Ventured into an industry that was once tagged as male-dominant. However, in recent times, the participation has been attributed to many more awareness on gender equality provided by the government, churches, non-government organizations, faith-based organizations, and many other stakeholders. This has allowed for women to come out from their comfort zone and be exposed in enhancing their knowledge and skills. And in the platform of the PNG ICT Cluster, women have been given more option.
Out of the PNG ICT Cluster, an initiative was also born, which is the PNG Women in STEM. So really about promoting inclusion and encouraging more women. And as you can see, the volunteers, a lot of the volunteers who are also ICT businesses are women. And also that's our giving back to our people is to promote that as well.
Women's success stories and achievements was also highlighted on Thursday during the pre-launch fundraising dinner held under the theme Sharing Innovation, Creating Our Future. The event brought together aspiring and practicing ICT experts, sharing their innovative ideas with the presence of Patron, Justice and Attorney General Minister Davis Stephen.
Remember Wilfred that came out here, he would be one of the youngest and maybe only inventor in the country because he's already registered a IP invention and it's recognized in Australia, but still he struggles to get business in the country. So when we looked at the patent system, we realized that 90% of patents registered in the country are foreign owned. And of that 90%, 60% belong to the mining companies. And we thought to ourselves, okay, something's not right here. When we looked at all the other economies, such as Silicon Valley, at a time where the global recession was occurring.
The PNG ICT Cluster is collaborating with the public and private sectors, along with academia, providing the visibility through its 30 membership.
PNG ICT Cluster started in 2014. It was a European Union project that was funded for the Pacific region. And there were 4 island countries, Vanuatu, Samoa, Tonga, and PNG. And ICT was selected as a economic cluster pilot to be done in Papua New Guinea. The PNG ICT Cluster's vision is to be the Silicon Valley of the Pacific. It's to promote the local ICT businesses, startups, and entrepreneurs, and also to attract the diverse talent that we have in the sector itself. So it doesn't matter what age range people are. It attracts both the young, right to elderly, to participate in the ICT industry.
Internet cost remains one of the biggest challenges in Papua New Guinea.
So we're also part of NICTA's and government initiative to bring broadband down to the rural communities. So we're also working on the internet exchange point, which is really about keeping local traffic local and international traffic bound. And that will then reduce the internet cost.
We also met with Emily Leah, who runs the Enova Software Solutions.
We started in 2013, so we are partnered with National Statistics Office, and we've been working with the Statistical Business Registry. So for the past 2 years, we've done a trial and we've gone out to other provinces. It has been a success. So next year we're looking forward to working with them to continue the registration of their data for the businesses and collecting. Innova Software Solutions specializes in collecting data that is important for decision makers. We have an Innova platform that we follow, which we use a mobile to collect the information, and we upload it to the cloud technology, using cloud technology, and we have a console that we use, and it is real-time data that we collect.
It's projected ICT can generate more revenue, but that will happen through the support of political bureaucrats.
At the moment, it's been slow, but hopefully PNG can work forward to bringing the revenue up.
The PNG ICT Cluster says the APEC 2018 summit is the way forward for them to be recognized also as a global leader in ICT as the Silicon Valley of the Pacific.
And we hope that the APEC would recognize this, that Papua New Guineans can also be provide this kind of softwares in ICT.
Yes. Well, we have the APEC 2018 that's coming up, and the topic is around digital economies. So we're actually at the really prime time where we can start looking at our local digital economy and where our ICT talent are and what are they doing in terms of, participating in being solution providers. So in the ICT cluster, that's basically what we are trying to promote, is really be the solution providers for the challenges that we are going through.
Fabian Haklitz, National EMTV News.
Here with National EMTV News, stories making headlines overseas. When we come back, stay tuned. Welcome back to the news. Turning overseas now, at the end of the day, politics should be all about people. This year, Londoners suffered the most devastating fire when the high-rise apartment block known as Grenfell Tower literally went up in flames. 71 people were incinerated.
Christmas in London is, for most people, a truly joyful time, but not here. In this pocket of West London, you'll find some efforts to mark the season, but they're rare and overwhelmed by a monstrous, dark presence. The black husk of Grenfell Tower looms over streets where there are no decorations, just memorials to 71 people suddenly taken in one horrific night 6 months ago. Photos, messages and tributes to people whose families must endure their first Christmas without them. The Tabernacle Christian Church is one of the places the fire's survivors come to collect donated clothes. Volunteers here are making a real effort with the decorations. They haven't given up on trying to make people feel some happiness, but their expectations are modest.
A lot of parents will try and make Christmas for the sake of their children, but the elders, like me, I ain't got no Christmas. If I get Christmas this year, if anything.
Clary Mendy lost two cousins in the fire, Mary Mendy and her daughter Khadijah Say.
I miss the gentleness, the smile, the warmness.
For the Jafari family, Christmas is special, but it's never been about faith. They're devout Muslims who fled Afghanistan and lived in Grenfell for more than 15 years. Fatima escaped the fire, and she's cried every day since. Her husband Ali was overcome by smoke as the family fled.
An ambulance couldn't save him, he passed away next to the tower. I remember my dad used to celebrate my birthday on the Christmas because I was born on Christmas.
You were born on Christmas?
Yeah. And then my dad was born on the 1st of January, so we used to celebrate.
Ali's son Hamid stood outside as the fire consumed the building, helpless, desperate, knowing his father was somewhere inside. This 33-year-old man is now too traumatized to sleep in the dark. His mother is terrified of tall buildings. His young son is scared of birthday candles. For the Jafaris, there is some solace in community. On the 14th of every month, the day of the fire, crowds walk silently through the streets surrounding Grenfell. December's turnout was the biggest yet. The event's quiet power is a demand for justice from ongoing investigations. It's a respectful tribute and an act of mutual support. Hamid Jafari is grateful, but it can't fill the absence left by his father.
1 hour, 2 hour, 24 hours, I just miss him.
Still in London, a fire has damaged parts of a zoo, forcing it to close on what should have been one of the busiest days of the year. Zookeepers managed to rescue all the animals in danger, although one later died. 4 others are still missing.
Well, the flames were seen leaping up behind the fences here at London Zoo early on a Saturday morning. Firefighters and zookeepers rushed to the scene to do what they could and save as many animals as possible. The cause of the blaze isn't known, but it took several hours to get it under control. It began in an enclosure and spread to a nearby shop. One person was taken to hospital, 7 were treated for injuries at the scene. Sadly, a 9-year-old aardvark named Misha died in the fire and 4 meerkats are unaccounted for.
We did a very quick, very rapid assessment of the impact on other animals to ensure that their welfare was not compromised in any way.
To allow investigators to do their work, the park was shut for the rest of the day, meaning tourists were turned away at the gates.
Neither of us have been to the zoo before, so it's quite upsetting.
It was a surprise visit to go and see Father Christmas. The girls didn't know.
And the incident couldn't have happened at a worse time. The Christmas holidays are normally incredibly busy at this popular tourist attraction.
In India, 3 people died while a bus plunged from a bridge. Police say the bus was driven by a 16-year-old when it lost control and broke through, falling 30 meters into the river. There were 50 people on board on their way to a Hindu temple. The teenage driver was among those killed. It's thought he was told to take the wheels while the proper driver took a rest. The death toll is rising in the Philippines as tropical storm Tembin rakes the island nation. Red Cross says the storm has killed over 150 people.
Already, the devastation after the first landfall is already felt by on the ground. I've spoken to some students in Lanao del Norte, and they told me that they were already mobilizing for relief efforts for their friends in areas that have been totally wiped out, they say. They've spoken to their friends in Salvador town, and they say that there are missing persons among families of their classmates there, and that help is needed down there.
What does this mean? I believe that the storm is now barreling towards places popular for tourists. So what does this mean for those tourists? Will they have to evacuate the hotels? And if so, where will they go?
I actually was able to speak to a worker in the development sector based in Palawan, which is a popular tourist destination known for its pristine beaches. And he said that the storm isn't as felt in that area. You have to understand that the storm is going to hit landfall in southern Philippines, and the tourist destinations are in southern Palawan, and the tourist destinations are located in northern Palawan. So in southern Palawan, the areas there are mostly ancestral domains. You have plantations, you have vast forests there. So you also have to understand there's another vulnerable sector at play here, which is the indigenous people sector in that area, who rely heavily on the land, on the crops in that area.
After the United States has issued a travel warning, Bethlehem is now losing tourists this Christmas. Bethlehem, the center of the Nativity, has built its economy on good tidings and cheers and is affected by the warning. This morning, protesters were in Bethlehem.
The selfie sticks outnumber the tourists in Bethlehem's Manger Square. Near the Church of the Nativity, the biblical spot where Jesus was born, the holiday spirit is fading. What was shaping up to be a busy Christmas a few weeks ago now feels rather empty.
Last Christmas, I'm feeling it's better than this Christmas, yes. There was more pilgrims last year.
Ronnie Tabash's family has owned this souvenir store near Manger Square for 90 years. Tabash is one of the lucky ones. His store still has customers, at least some.
We can feel that less pilgrims coming to Bethlehem. But I want to tell the word and to tell all the people, we invite them to Bethlehem to come to celebrate the Christmas Mass.
A giant nativity scene takes up most of Manger Square. Shop owners worry that tourists won't be able to fill the rest.
Once again, the U.S. issued a travel warning for Bethlehem right before the holiday season. That means tourists cancel their hotel stays, the shops here don't see the customers, and the entire city takes a hit.
The travel warning came after President Donald Trump recognized Jerusalem as the capital of Israel, setting off demonstrations across the region and here.
On this main road in Bethlehem, clashes have become the norm, not the exception. All along the street, broken windows and closed storefronts. There's no point in reopening, only to close for every protest. The five-star Jasira Palace was booked for the holidays with a star singer for Christmas.
The hotel is fully booked, but as you know, because of the situation, it affected us a lot. It affected us personally.
I interviewed Nadia Tuweme in an empty dining room. A few weeks ago, this would have been full. As we wrap up, demonstrations start outside. A crowd of Palestinians marches toward an Israeli army outpost. They walk over an American flag with pictures of President Trump and Vice President Pence. It's an anger that's barely faded, replacing the joy few here feel this holiday season.
Here with National EMTV News, we go for a break now. When we come back, some sporting updates in Trukai Sports. Stay tuned.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome to Trukai Sports. 54 teams have registered for the NCD Governors Christmas Cup. The matches are being played at the two venues of Connie Tigers and the Sir William Skate Ovals.
The NCD Governors Christmas Cup has been running for the past few years. The interest has grown with many teams registering to take part. This year, a total of 52 teams are taking part in the tournament.
We're looking for some teams who will grow a big plan, who will come and participate. And normally, we are running 32 teams. But we are looking for some all teams who will come inside the NCDC long okra suburbs. And we are extending like team go contact long 48. So 48 and people like start and people running and people are looking plenty more teams more come. So people are surging contact long 54.
16 teams in the women's division have been included in this year's competition. With the increase in teams, venue was an issue. They managed to secure the Bill Skate Oval at Kaugera to play some of their matches.
Yes, we play 6 games long there too. All stop inside, all take part. After long first day, all not been take part. Do long venues where people have not been ready, but now I'm first venue. I'm long here Connie Tigers. Na we play number 2 venues long a Bill Skate Oval Kaugera, Oval 1, Oval 2. So we play Catering Mall, na we play Feeding Mall Gonche long. All this 1 oval.
A few teams have stood out in the first 2 days of competition.
Na mi looking all teams where most stand out long Morata Bulldog, Morata Bullets, sorry. And then we got him all Arab teams kind of some H6 Knights, Morata Swans, okay, Freeway Bumpers. And all teams where we looking all come strong.
The competition will run for the next 2 weeks. Elijah Levet, National EMTV Sports.
After visiting all parts of the Commonwealth, the Queens Baton has arrived in Brisbane. It signals 101 days until what is being described as Queensland's biggest sporting event ever.
Well, good afternoon. I'm here at Brisbane Airport where the Queens Baton has arrived this morning. It arrived at around 7:15 on a Qantas flight from Auckland. Swimmer Cam McAvoy was the first Australian athlete on Australian soil to hold the baton. He walked through the arrivals terminal to Borrowby and large media crowds. He then arrived here on the stage with a welcoming ceremony with officials.
For me, this tops the cake. This is very much the coolest thing that I've been able to do.
This baton is an invitation to come to the Commonwealth Games and be part of history. Biggest event in Queensland's history, the biggest event in Australia for 20 years, and you're part of it.
The baton has spent 288 days travelling through Commonwealth nations and territories. Australia is the 70th nation and the final nation, of course, on its journey. It will spend the next 101 days travelling across the country through every state and territory, passing through thousands of hands and across thousands of kilometres, right up until that opening ceremony on the Gold Coast on April April 4.
The Queens Baton will spend its final 33 days here in Queensland.
This Queens Baton relay will be the longest in history. All up, it'll travel around 240,000 kilometres right across the world and here in Australia. From here, the Baton will be packed away to make its next public appearance at the MCG on Boxing Day. The official relay, though, in Australia doesn't kick off until the 25th of January, which will be in Canberra.
To cricket now, Mitchell Starc has been ruled out of the Boxing Day Ashes test, but shortly after his ruling, Steve Smith sent a huge scare to the Australian camp. The skipper was struck in the hand by a straight hit ball.
There's absolutely nothing wrong with him, he's fine. He was confused how it actually got there, so I think we all were. I think it hit the top of the rail and then just flicked up.
And you're watching Trukai Sports. We'll have more after these messages. Stay tuned.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome back to Trukai Sports. A North Carolina family has many reasons to celebrate this Christmas. A football coach turned a losing high school team into champions, but his victory was out on the field.
A senior quarterback with a 95-yard touchdown run to win the state championship game. Leading a team that just 2 years ago had a 1-10 record to their first state title in more than 60 years. Historic. Impressive. But this is a story about much more than football. This is a story about a coach, quarterback, and a little but loaded question that changed their lives. Late summer 2015, Harding University High School, Charlotte, North Carolina.
#1 goal overall.
Sam Greiner, a first-year head coach, tasked with turning around the Rams' abysmal, underfunded program and breaking some bad news to sophomore Brahim Murphy.
The athletic director comes to me and says, oh yeah, by the way, Brahim Murphy and some other guys are not eligible. I was like, Brahim's not eligible? I was like blown away because he's so smart.
But he didn't have the grades to play.
When he told me that, I didn't show any emotions, but like once I got home, I just cried for like 2 days straight.
Home, a complicated word in Brahim's life back then.
I had to be on my own at times, and sometimes I'll stay at my friend's house. Me and my sister stay at my friend's house. We were going back and forth.
We're homeless.
Yeah, basically, I wasn't stable in a stable home.
When he was 5 years old, Brahim lost his mother to a brain aneurysm.
After that, it's just like everything went downhill. My dad loves me and everything, but we were just going through problems.
Coach Greiner started to notice that when he dropped Brahim off at home, it was never the same place twice.
Eventually, he just opened up to me, and he was like, I have to stay with my sister from place to place. And I didn't know what to do at times, so I go into my office and I start thinking, I'm like, God, something's tugging at my heart.
Now, Sam Greiner has spent years talking faith, family, and football. So he called his wife, Connie. It was time to practice what he preached.
So he stayed with us. We had dinner a couple of times with him, and I fell in love.
And their daughters, Charlie and Journey, just 2 and 3 years old at the time, absolutely smitten with a new big brother. So when it came down to that little life-changing question...
He's like, is it okay if I just stay here with you guys for a little bit? I said, Brahim, you can stay here as long as you want. And 2 years later, will you do me a favor?
Yeah.
It was an adjustment, but it worked.
I just felt that when I had someone caring for me, I felt like it made me do better in school, and it made me want to do better in life,
His grades shot up, straight A's. Brahim said in finding a family, he also found faith.
Once I met God, that's a main turn in my life also.
And football, well, that fell into place. But this story, it's far from finished. Brahim will leave for college in the summer. He earned a scholarship to the United States Military Academy at West Point.
I'll shed some tears, cause Connie gonna make me, they're gonna make me cry.
Oh my gosh.
What you gonna tell Brahim on graduation day?
That I love him. I couldn't be more proud of him.
He's doing a family tree changer. I never had an opportunity to go to West Point. He's better than me. Kind Connie's trying to go to college right now to do her career, and one day we'll probably be working for our own son.
Every twist and turn of the World Rugby Sevens tournament when Fiji plays is keenly followed. Now watch this.
Every twist and turn of the tournament would be keenly followed by some of the other young players. To the action then, and South Africa are involved in an epic battle with Fiji.
The turnover is good for them, and this will surely be their second, putting the hammer down.
Which saw the visitors take an early commanding lead with local hero Sanatla seeing yellow for a high tackle.
And there's a hand around the head there, also be a yellow card.
There were nervous moments for the fans both in the ground and the clubhouse. South Africa were desperately hanging on as the Blitzboks pulled back a vital score just before half-time.
And here's Tim Agaba with the first touch. Looks to his inside. Gedult! Justin Gedult looking to go close to the posts.
What's been your best part of the day?
When Blitzboks were playing, it was good. The vibe, the atmosphere, everything was on point.
Which Blitzboks player did the best, do you think?
Obvious, Sabelo Sinatla.
When he's on a run, the crowd just goes wild, doesn't it?
Yeah, and then everyone just stand up and shout at him. He's quite a good player.
And home favourite Sanatla, who reached his 200 try landmark over the weekend, played his part in an incredible comeback which saw a last gasp victory over Fiji.
And Sanatla is away. Does it bounce? Can it defend him? Sanatla! Into the front goes South Africa with a minute to play.
Sadly for the home crowd, they were defeated in the next round by New Zealand, who made their way to the final despite losing their opening pool game to the USA. Their opponents in the final were Argentina, who also overcame a pool stage setback against England, but grew stronger as the tournament progressed. But the All Black Sevens, reaching their second final in a week, proved too strong and celebrated their 38-14 victory with a traditional haka. Despite their memorable defeat to South Africa, Fiji's intense workload was best demonstrated by Armanoni Nasilasila, whose 23 tackles, 6 breaks, 7 offloads and 24 carries won him the DHL Impact Award with 60 points.
And that's it for Trukai Sports. We go for a break. When we come back, the weather details for Christmas. Stay tuned.
Trukai Sports. Trukai Sports.
The weather details are proudly brought to you by Dulux Weather Shield. Worth doing with Dulux.
A quick look at the weather for Christmas Day in the southern region. Port Moresby, fine, becoming cloudy with a top temperature of 32 degrees. To the Momasa region, a few showers expected in Leh with a top of 31. To the New Guinea Islands region, a shower or two expected in Buka with a top of 31. And in the Highlands region, Mount Hagen, Goroka, Kundiawa, Mendi and Wabeg, all these major centers can expect showers on Christmas Day with morning fog.
Weather details are proudly brought to you by Dulux Weather Shield. Worth doing with Dulux.
And that's a new sport and weather for today, Sunday the 24th of December. It is Christmas Eve. In a few hours, it'll be Christmas. On behalf of the entire MTV News team all around the country, may you and your family and friends have a safe, blessed, Merry Christmas. Good night.